Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Joe B from JB Custom Design and Print. Today is my first tutorial actually showing you how to get a fire embroidery effect using Photoshop Beta. I've been seeing a lot of this kind of faux embroidery print, a lot of people using DTG and even screen printing this style. I've seen a lot of dope YouTubers already doing this. It's actually been out for close to a year now. But what I haven't seen is anybody kind of break it down in this way. So I'm gonna show y'all how, I got from something like this, which is still kind of cool. And honestly, I could played around with it and tweaked it. Um, but I ended up doing something different and I was able to easily come up with something like this. So I'm going to show you that today. So first things first, let's go ahead and open up a new document. I'll make it 12 by 12, 300 PPI. We'll go ahead and remove the background layer. You want to start with a good logo. That's the main thing. So I'm going to go over to Illustrator. I grabbed this from Google, brought it in here, image traced it, and then recolored it. Now I'm just going to copy it, Control C or Command C, and then I'm going to bring that joint on over into Photoshop. So boom, we're going to paste it here. The reason I'm working in such a large file is I find it easier for me. Like even when I'm digitizing, I like working with the bigger file or somewhat mid-sized file. It's just easier for me to work with. So with that being said, I'm just going to slap on the filter like we do normally. Where is it at? Parametric filter, embroidery filter. Boom. So first things first, straight out the box, this honestly ain't that bad. So let's play around with it. Right now we got two colors, so it'll ask you the number of colors here. We'll click 2. All right, so you can see it changed it a little bit. I like the 45-degree angle. Density is just basically how much of a spread you have, or like how tight the stitches are, for instance. I know this says tightness, but really what this is referring to is more of the style. So as you go to the left, see this fill, it'll be more of a fill versus if you swing it to the right, it'll change it more into like an outline or what I call a satin. So this looks cool in the middle, right? So that's the problem I have with this is that when you're making changes in here, it affects both objects, right? Like, and this looks really cool, but honestly, it would be cooler if this was a fill stitch on the outside. Like if I can change this to a fill and this was a satin, right? Another thing is I'm seeing like people use this effect and this looks okay. Let me go back to the original because that looked better. So we're just gonna remove it, delete smart filter. We're gonna reapply it. Filter, parametric filters, which was already up, but I just want to show you guys. Embroidery. Excuse me. So if you see here, this is pretty decent looking, right? But in all actuality, we're gonna delete that. I had an extra logo. You have this layer underneath, so we're gonna remove it. Boom. When you remove it, you can see, we'll put our background layer back on. You can see the inconsistencies, right? That don't look too good when you remove that vector layer. So we'll put that back on. Boom. Looks clean like that. I don't like that at all. I want to control these separate, and they just don't really give you the good option to do that. Now, it's meant to, and I'll show you how. So there's 2 colors. So we're going to change this to 2 colors. And then down here, we can see, we can choose our colors, right? So we click this on. That's the navy blue. So boom, we'll come here. Luckily, I got the navy blue right here. So we'll pluck it from there. Okay. It'll change the color to blue again. Now we can change this to a feel like we want. We can change the direction. We can change the density. You can change the height. So the height is new. So the height is basically just how tall it looks. So essentially, it's just adding like a shading or a drop shadow to it to make it look like it's raised. So I mean that's cool, but still not what quite what I'm looking for. Let's see if we up the length here. I don't like this spacing, so maybe this length will help. It did a little bit. But now it looks like this navy is overlapping this lighter blue, right? We don't want that. All right, so let's keep going. Let's see what happens. So we'll do another color. Boom. And then this will be our lighter blue. And I'm just going to guess the color, y'all. Boom. We do want a satin. What happens if I did twill, though? What would it look like? That's not the same twill, Adobe. Like, how you gonna give me a 12 for that, but then give me a satin here? So there's something weird with the algorithm, man. So I can do a satin, I could change the degrees, but you only give me the option to change the height here on the custom color too. So what if I did 12? Do I get the other option? Yeah, so you get density and orientation if you do 12. What's the other option? Split. So is it split between the two? Yeah, I see where y'all going with this. All right. So, boom. Let's just say that's what we got. Well, actually, let's clear it because I like the original effect. So let's put it back on. Boom. And then let's change it to ultra. Boom. And then what did I do? I changed it to 2 colors. That looks great. And then we'll do fill outline. Let's see what we get. Ooh. Didn't try that one before. So what that's doing is putting a fill and an outline on that particular color, which is pretty dope. That's kind of intuitive what it's trying to do. Okay, I see you, Adobe. But I'm going to show you a doper way. All right, so let's get out of this. Let's just keep this as our quote unquote bad example. How do we want to do this? Let's convert it to a smart object. We'll rename this to bad example. Excuse me again. Then we can delete this vector object. Let's add a color to this. I forgot how to do it. Oh, here we go. Let's say red for bad. All right. So just so I can keep track. So we're just gonna hide that, turn our vector object back. Boom. So one thing you want to do when you're dealing with patches, coming from a digitizing perspective, we'll keep this up. You always want like a border here, right? So you can see some of the options gave us a border and kept it navy. What I want to do is kind of add my own border here. So before I start breaking this down, I'm going to go into effects. I'm going to add a stroke. And then it's already set up for me. Obviously, I was already working in here. I've done this a few times if you couldn't tell. But this is at 125 pixels. Kept the stroke outside, and I just made the color the same as this inner color here. Boom. So we're going to just convert that into a smart object, just so I don't have those effects there while I'm using the embroidery effect as well. All right, so from here, we want to break this object down into pieces, starting with this blue square, all right, because that's going to be like my base piece. If I'm embroidering, that's going to go down first, and then I'm going to come over it with the P and the S, and then finish it off with this satin outline. All right. So to do that, I'm gonna make sure I'm clicking this layer. Let's call this layer something else too. Let's call it just Adobe logo. Boom. And then we're gonna take our magic wand tool. There's a million ways you can do this. Do whatever works best. Don't argue with me in the comments. One, I'm just starting off, like I said. Two, I'm not a English critic. I'm not a perfect person, man. So I just want you to learn this from me. If you can get some value out of it, great. All right, so I'm gonna click the blue area, and then I'm gonna come over here, make sure I'm still on the logo, and I'm gonna hit Command J on the Mac. What this is gonna do is copy that layer. Copy that mask that I just grabbed into another layer. So as you can see, I got the P and the S minus that little blue thing. All right. So when we're thinking about it like a digitizer, though, you wouldn't want these holes right here. Why? Because you can see the inconsistencies in the shape. Now you could cover it up, but you end up probably using more stitches if you just went ahead and just made this a solid shape. So what we're gonna do is make it a solid shape. All right. So to do that, we're just gonna make another layer. Again, there's probably another way to do this, but this is how I'm gonna do it. Made another layer. I'm gonna get a hard brush, make sure my color is the same navy blue, and we're just gonna color into this layer 2. Once we have that, we're just gonna combine these layers together. Sorry. Combine these layers together, merge layers, and then let's go ahead and rename this one Navy Base. All right, because that's our base layer. Now we'll go back to the original and let's start taking these other pieces. So these two can come together. Oh, I'm not clicked on the original logo. So this one and this one. Basically, in order to grab both, I just held shift, if you guys are wondering. Dang, and I'm trying to avoid this, you guys. So a lot of what I'm doing, like I said, I'm just learning. So if I'm messing up, just remind me in the comments if y'all want it a certain way and I'll do it. Try not to think too much about it. So I'll keep going here. So I grab these two. I'm going to Command J, just like I did with the Navy base. Now we want to make sure this PS layer is actually above the Navy base. And then we're going to rename it PS layer. Let's rename it PS. All right. So once we have that, let's go ahead and apply our effect. Boom. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. I can keep that on there. No big deal. No big deal. All right. Let me just delete that. Let's go back. Sorry, guys. All right. Last step is to go back here. We're just going to grab this last outline real quick. It's just nerve-wracking. All right. Cool. So that's going to be at the very top. All right. So once we have that, we can X out of our